At 2:07 a.m., my doorbell rang. Not a knock, not a polite tap. A long, deliberate press, like someone was holding their finger there just to make sure I woke up. I sat straight up in bed, heart slamming so hard it felt like it was in my throat. My husband, Mark, groaned beside me and rolled over. "Did you hear that?" I whispered. He didn't answer. He was already drifting back to sleep. The doorbell rang again. Longer this time. I slid out of bed, my bare feet cold against the hardwood. The house was dark except for the dim hallway light. As I passed the mirror, I caught my reflection. Messy hair, oversized t-shirt, eyes wide and scared. I looked like someone who already knew something was wrong but hadn't admitted it yet. I checked my phone. 2:08 a.m. No missed calls, no texts. The bell rang a third time. This time, my stomach dropped. I crept to the front door and looked through the peephole, and my entire body went cold. It was her. Standing on my porch, arms crossed, weight shifted casually onto one hip, like she was waiting for a friend who was running late. Not a stranger, not a neighbor. Mark's friend. Lena, the woman he had told me, over and over again, was basically a sister. The woman he had laughed about when I said she made me uncomfortable. The woman he had sworn I was being paranoid about. And now she was at my house. At 2 a.m. In a cropped leather jacket, tight jeans, hair perfectly styled, makeup flawless, like she had gotten ready to be seen, not like someone who'd shown up by accident. I stepped back from the door like it might burn me. My mind raced. Did Mark know she was here? Did he invite her? Was this some kind of emergency? The bell rang again. Then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Hey, I know it's late, but we really need to talk." I stared at the screen until my hands started shaking. "We?" I whispered to myself. I turned and went back to the bedroom. Mark was half asleep, face buried in the pillow. I shook his shoulder hard. "Mark," I hissed. "Mark, wake up." "What?" he muttered. "Like, what's wrong?" "She's here." He squinted at me. "Who?" "Lena. She's at the door. Right now." He sat up so fast the blanket fell off him. "What? That's not funny." "I'm not joking," I said. "She's literally standing on our porch." Mark rubbed his face, confused, annoyed. "Why would she be here?" "I don't know," I snapped. "You tell me." He sighed, already defensive. "Okay, first of all, calm down. You're probably overreacting. Maybe she just—" The doorbell rang again, sharp and impatient. Mark froze. "She actually came?" he said slowly. My voice dropped. "You didn't know?" He stood up, pulling on his sweatpants. "No, I swear. She didn't say anything about coming over." "Then why is she here?" I demanded. Mark avoided my eyes. "I don't know." That was the moment something inside me cracked, because I suddenly realized how many times he had said those exact words before. "I don't know why she texts me so late. I don't know why she needs my help so much. I don't know why you're making such a big deal out of this." The doorbell rang again. Then the knocking started. Hard. Aggressive. Like she knew someone was awake and was done being polite. "Mark," I said quietly, "do not open that door." He hesitated. And that hesitation told me everything I needed to know. "Babe," he said, exasperated. "I can't just ignore her. She's probably upset about something." "At 2 a.m, I said. "At our house?" "She doesn't have anyone else," he said automatically. I laughed. I actually laughed. "That's funny," I said, my voice shaking. "Because you told me I was crazy for thinking she treated you like you were hers." The knocking stopped. For a second, everything was silent. Then Lena's voice cut through the door, clear, calm, and confident. "Mark," she called. "I know you're awake." My blood ran cold. I saw the light turn on. Mark's face went pale. I stepped back, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears, because whatever this was, it wasn't accidental, and it wasn't innocent, and it was only just beginning. Mark stood there staring at the door like it was a loaded weapon. "Say something," I whispered. Before he could answer, Lena knocked again. Slow this time, not frantic, not desperate, confident, like she knew exactly where she stood. "Mark," she said, softer now. "Please, just open the door. I'm freezing." It was July. I grabbed his arm. "Don't you dare." He pulled away gently but firmly, already walking toward the door. "I'm not leaving her out there. That would be rude." Rude. At 2 a.m, to the woman he told me I was imagining things about. He unlocked the door. The second it opened, Lena smiled like she'd won something. "Hey," she said, brushing past him before he could even respond. She walked straight into my house like she'd been there 100 times. Wow, you weren't kidding. This place is cute. I stood frozen in the hallway, barefoot, arms crossed, heart hammering. Why are you here? I asked. She turned slowly, eyes flicking over me from head to toe. No apology, no embarrassment. Oh, she said lightly. I didn't realize you were awake. Mark cleared his throat. Lena, what's going on? She sighed dramatically and leaned against the wall like she was exhausted. I had a really bad night. I tried calling you, but you didn't answer. I stared at Mark. She called you? He looked down. I had my phone on silent. Of course you did. How many times? I asked. Lena answered for him. Just a few. I didn't want to bother you. Guys? But I didn't know where else to go. I laughed again. Sharp this time. So your solution was to show up at my house unannounced in the middle of the night? She tilted her head, studying me. I didn't think you'd mind. Mark's always said you're understanding. Mark shot her a look. I didn't say that. She shrugged. You implied it. Something about the way she said that, casual, familiar, made my skin crawl. Lena, I said, my voice tight, this isn't appropriate. She smiled. I'm not staying. I just needed to talk to Mark for a minute. No, I said immediately. You don't. Mark rubbed his temples. Can we all just calm down? She's clearly upset. I'm upset too, I snapped, but I don't show up at someone's house at 2 a.m. Lena laughed softly, like I'd said something naive. You wouldn't understand. You don't really know him the way I do. The room went silent. Mark stiffened. That's not fair. She looked at him then, really looked at him, eyes softening. I've known you since before her, before the marriage, before everything got complicated. My stomach dropped. What does that mean? I asked. She hesitated just long enough to make it deliberate. Nothing. I just mean, we've been through a lot together. Mark shifted uncomfortably. Lena, stop. I stepped forward. What have you been through together? She glanced at him, then back at me. Do you really want to do this right now? Yes, I said. I do. Mark finally snapped. This is ridiculous. You're making it weird. I turned to him, stunned. I'm making it weird? She's just a friend, he insisted. You're blowing this way out of proportion. Lena placed a hand on his arm. I told you she wouldn't get it, she said quietly. That was it. That was the moment. Not the doorbell, not the late night visit. That sentence. Like I was an obstacle they were both tired of explaining things to. Get your hand off my husband, I said. She didn't move. Instead, she looked at me with something close to pity. I'm not trying to take anything from you. I just needed him tonight. Why? I demanded. Why him? She opened her mouth, then closed it, then said, because he knows what I'm going through. I turned to Mark. What is she talking about? He hesitated. Again. And that hesitation was louder than any confession. Mark, I said slowly, what does she know about you that I don't? Lena's phone buzzed in her hand. She glanced at it, then smiled faintly. Oh, she said. That. Mark's face drained of color. She looked back at me. I think maybe he should tell you himself. My heart started pounding so hard I felt dizzy, because suddenly I knew, whatever this was, whatever secret was sitting between them, it was big, enough that she felt comfortable showing up at my house at 2 a.m., and confident enough to stand there like she belonged. Mark didn't speak. Not right away. He just stood there, staring at the floor like if he avoided my eyes long enough, the moment might pass. It didn't. Tell me, I said. My voice was calm in a way that scared even me. What does she know about you that I don't? Lena exhaled softly, like she was almost relieved. Mark, she said gently. You promised you'd tell her. My stomach flipped. Promised? Mark finally looked up. His face was pale, jaw tight. This is not how this was supposed to happen. I let out a short, humorless laugh. Oh, really? Because showing up at my house at 2 a.m. feels pretty intentional. Lena crossed her arms. I didn't plan to come here. I just couldn't be alone tonight. Why? I demanded again. Why him? She hesitated, then looked straight at me. Because he's the only person who knows the truth. My ears rang. The truth about what? Mark opened his mouth, closed it. Lena beat him to it. About us. The word landed like a gunshot. Us? I repeated. There is no us. She winced slightly. Not anymore? I turned to Mark so fast my neck hurt. What does that mean? He dragged a hand down his face. Please don't do this like this. Like what? I snapped. In my own house? In the middle of the night? With her standing here like she owns you? Lena's voice dropped. You deserve to know. Mark looked at her sharply. Stop. No, she said. You don't get to control this anymore. My chest felt tight. Control what? She took a breath. Mark and we used to be together. The room tilted. I grabbed the back of a chair to steady myself. Used to be what? She swallowed. Before you. Years before. But when you two got married, we didn't really stop talking. My heart started racing. Talking? Mark finally spoke, his voice low. It wasn't like that. Then explain it, I said. Right now. He looked at me, eyes wet. She was going through a hard time. Panic attacks, depression. She leaned on me. And you leaned back, I said flatly. Lena nodded. He was there for me when no one else was. I stared at her. So that gives you permission to show up here at 2 a.m? Her eyes flashed. You don't know what tonight was like for me. I don't care, I said. You don't get access to my husband because you had a bad night. Mark stepped between us. Enough. I looked at him in disbelief. Enough? He turned to me, voice cracking. Nothing physical happened, ever, I swear. I laughed again. This time it came out broken. Do you expect me to be relieved by that? Lena looked uncomfortable now, shifting her weight. Mark, I didn't mean to cause this. I snapped my head toward her. You meant exactly to cause this. She flinched. I stepped closer, my hands shaking. You didn't come here because you were lonely. You came here to prove something. Her lips pressed together. To prove you still mattered, I continued. To see if he'd choose you? Mark said nothing. That silence screamed louder than any confession. I turned back to him slowly. Did you invite her? No, he said quickly. I didn't. Did you tell her she could come if she needed you? He hesitated. Just for a second. But it was enough. My stomach dropped straight through the floor. I can't believe this, I whispered. Lena's phone buzzed again. She glanced at it, then at Mark. I should go. No, I said sharply. You don't get to walk out like this. Mark rubbed his face. Please, let her leave. That hurt more than anything else. You're protecting her, I said. I'm trying to stop this from getting worse, he said. I stared at him, really stared at him, and realized something terrifying. He wasn't panicking because he loved me. He was panicking because he was losing control of the story. Go, I said to Lena, stepping aside. Get out of my house. She hesitated, then grabbed her bag. As she passed me, she leaned in and whispered so softly Mark couldn't hear. You were right to be paranoid. Then she walked out the door. The silence afterward was deafening. I turned slowly to Mark. We're not done, I said. His shoulders sagged. I know. You lied to me, I said. Over and over. I didn't cheat, he said desperately. No, I replied. You did something worse. He looked up. What? You made me doubt my own reality. He opened his mouth to argue. I raised my hand. Don't. Not yet. My phone buzzed. A text. From an unknown number. I looked down. It was a screenshot. A message thread. Between Mark and Lena. And the timestamp at the top made my blood run cold. Earlier that night. I looked up at him slowly. And that's when I knew. This story was nowhere near over. I didn't say anything. I just stared at my phone while my heart pounded so hard I thought I might throw up. Mark noticed. What? He asked, already nervous. What is it? I turned the screen toward him. He went completely still. The messages weren't flirtatious at first. That was almost worse. Lena, I can't sleep. I keep thinking about you. Mark, you shouldn't be alone right now. Lena, can I come over? Mark, it's late. Lena, please, I just need to see you. Mark, I'll figure something out. The last message was timestamped 1:41 a.m. I looked up at him slowly. You told her you'd figure something out, I said. My voice was eerily calm. So, what was the plan, Mark? He swallowed. I was going to talk to her. Outside. Tell her she can't do this anymore. So instead, I said, she shows up at my door at 2 a.m., confident enough to walk into my house like she owns it. That wasn't what I meant, he insisted. But you didn't stop it, I said. And that's the problem. He ran his hands through his hair. I didn't think she'd actually come. I laughed softly. That's funny, because I did. He flinched. For years, I continued. You told me I was paranoid. You told me I was insecure. You told me I was imagining things. I was trying to keep the peace, he said weakly. No, I corrected. You were protecting her comfort at the expense of my sanity. He stepped toward me. Please, we can fix this. That's when my phone buzzed again. Another message, another screenshot. This time it wasn't Mark and Lena. It was Lena and someone saved in her phone as Bestie, ow. The message was sent at 1:52 a.m. Lena. He said I could come if I needed him. If she freaks out, that's on her. I felt something inside me go very, very still. I looked at Mark. She knew, I said quietly. She knew exactly what this would do. He looked sick. I swear I didn't mean... I know, I interrupted. That's the worst part. He frowned. What do you mean? You didn't mean to blow up our marriage? I said. You just didn't care enough to stop it. He opened his mouth. I raised my hand. Don't. I walked past him and grabbed my keys. Where are you going? He asked, panic creeping into his voice. I'm not the one leaving, I said, opening the front door. You are. He stared at me. It's the middle of the night. So was it when she showed up? I replied. Please, he said. Just talk to me. I turned back one last time. For months, I said, you watched me doubt myself. You watched me apologize for feelings that were completely justified. You let another woman test your loyalty over and over, and you failed every time. I didn't cheat, he said again, desperate. I nodded. You're right. Hope flickered in his eyes. You didn't cheat, I continued. You just emotionally handed yourself to someone else and called me crazy for noticing. The hope died. Pack a bag, I said. Go anywhere else. But you don't sleep here tonight. He stood there shaking. Finally, he grabbed his jacket and keys and walked out without another word. The house went silent. For the first time all night, I could breathe. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Lena. Lena, I never meant to hurt you. I just needed him. I stared at it for a long time. Then I typed back. Me. He was never yours to need. I blocked her. I blocked Mark. I sat on the couch until the sun came up, replaying everything. Not with confusion this time, but clarity. I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't insecure. I wasn't imagining anything. I was right. The next morning, I called a lawyer. By the end of the week, Mark was staying with a friend. By the end of the month, we were separated. He tried to apologize, tried to explain, tried to rewrite history. I didn't let him. Because once someone teaches you that they're willing to gaslight you to protect another woman, you stop asking why. You start choosing yourself. And as for Lena, she texted mutual friends saying she never meant for things to go this far. But she never showed up at my door again. Some people don't want relationships. They want access. And at 2:07 a.m., standing barefoot in my hallway, I finally realized something that changed my life. Paranoia is what they call it when you're the only one brave enough to notice the truth.